Says we're live. So I want to talk a little bit today about creating stuff. Now, most people that follow me at all, or lots of folks that I know, it's about building life like you want it. And excuse me, it's about intentionality, about understanding what you want and then going about creating it. It's about understanding who you are. It's about coming to terms with the tools you have and what you don't have. You have tools and skills, and there are other tools and skills you don't have. For example, at this moment, I don't know a lot about gardening. I've never spent a lot of time and effort learning that. Excuse me. I have a lot of respect for those that have a green thumb and can grow beautiful gardens. That's fabulous. I don't. I have skills. I'm a recording engineer. Excuse me. I'm an author. What are your skills? What are your gifts? Do you have a list somewhere? Do you think about them occasionally? Do you intentionally think, okay, these are my gifts. What can I create with those? I know somebody, I have a client right now who spends a good bit of time each day assessing how they can take skills they know they have and then create with it, create money, create impact, and do something. Like I know because they're a client and I talk to them a lot about that. Creating, you're creating all the time. Right now, I'm creating. I sit here in a chair, I'm talking to you, I'm creating a video, I'm speaking, I'm adding carbon dioxide to the air. And my intention and my commitment is to create encouragement for you. So the first way I'm doing that is to remind you of something you probably know at some level. Maybe it's buried under a lot of noise and a lot of doubt, but you have the ability to create. And you have the ability to create important things, good things, big things, powerful things. You can create nothing. Actually, you can't create nothing. We can't do that. We're creating all the time, every second. We might be creating apathy. We might be creating beauty. We might be creating nothing at all except carbon dioxide in the air. Sit and watch TV or do nothing. That's fine. But we're talking today about the ultimate life. That's everything that I'm doing is about how to create that. I saw something today that was really interesting. It was a quote in a book, and I didn't buy the book, but I was looking on Amazon at different things. And in this foreword of the book, or the view inside thing, it talked about happiness. It was about creating happiness. And it was an interesting definition of happiness. Now, we all know when we get scared, we have a physiological reaction, right? Neurotransmitters are in our bodies. And we can feel that feeling of fear or the feeling of anger. How about the feeling of happy? So this particular author said happiness is the emotional response or the feeling of making progress toward a desirable goal. I like that. That's certainly not everything that it is, but it's a beautiful way to think about it. Like if you or I were making progress toward a desirable goal, we certainly can be happy, satisfied. Yeah, we're making progress. So I've got behind me here this great big picture of a stadium. And right behind me, where you can't see, there's a stage and somebody on the stage. And the prompt that I gave the AI art thing was singing to 100,000 people. So making progress toward singing to 100,000 people could make this performer pictured behind me in happy, joyful. But you know what else? We sometimes, often, in fact, have a problem with patience, or at least I have. It's not happening fast enough. And I sometimes have asked the question, how many times do I have to shout into the universe before somebody hears? And that usually comes when, you've done something, or when I've done something and I thought it was good and nobody noticed, or it seemed like nobody noticed. That can be frustrating, demoralizing. What good does it do? Why do I even try? All those kinds of things. So I just want to walk through the creation process of that. First, I had an idea. I'm going to do a thing. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to speak at a conference, or I'm going to attend a seminar and speak. So I have an idea, and I prepare a talk, and I think about what I can do to lift and bless those people there and be relevant to the topic of the event and so forth. And then I speak, and nothing happens, or at least I can't see it happening, right? So then all of a sudden, I'm like, what did I do that for? What a waste of time. So I created the opportunity to go there. I said yes to an invitation. I created a speech. I presented it. All of those things I created. Then after that, I created negativity because I created the idea that nobody cared. And I don't know that, but I created that idea. That affects me in the future because then I say, oh, I'm not going to do that again. That's a waste of time. Or I don't know how to speak, or I don't know how to speak well. I don't know how to teach. Obviously didn't have any impact. All those kinds of things, those are creations too, just like creating the speech was. Because I don't know any of that. The only thing I know is I didn't get a visible or recognizable recognition in the short period of time that has happened since the speech. Well, that's a really incomplete way to make an assessment of the effectiveness of an action. Immediate and only the way you can imagine. Well, my imagination compared to eternity and infinity and the universe isn't very big. Sometimes we feel like we imagine limitless things, but compared to God or the creator or the universe, pretty puny. So because something didn't happen immediately, and because it didn't happen in a way that I thought it ought to, then I deemed something to be unsuccessful. It's dangerous. It's also demoralizing. Number one, we don't know it's true. And number two, it acts as a weight. I don't want to do that again. Oh, that was a failure. Let's not, or we got to completely change it and start over again. You don't know any of that. Now, testing and marketing and split testing and trying different talks and lead magnets and pages, those are all appropriate. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the story that we carry around about our value and adequacy when something doesn't go like we want. And what I wanted to make sure is clear is I'm creating that story after the conversation, after the talk. So I have the talk, it didn't do what I wanted. Oh, I'm a failure. So now I've created a story which has potentially a long tail going forward because of how it impacts what I do next and next and next. Another opportunity is to simply, an invitation is to accept what is in the moment. I gave a talk. I thought it went well. I didn't have a rush of people come to talk to me. Okay, what do I do now? Do I follow up with people? Do I look for another event? Do I examine the content, in detail without drama to see if there's an improvement or a possibility? One of the things I know that I'm now, I'm 68 and a half. One of the things that I know and have learned that I didn't used to know is that gradual progress is real progress. I used to have this disease that if everything didn't happen fast and the way I wanted, that, life was unfair, the world was unfair, and or I sucked. I have learned gratefully that's not true. I have learned gratefully that 1% change is 1% change. In 100 days, that's 100% change. Now, you might think I'd like 100% in one day, and maybe that's possible sometimes. But often growth is an incremental process as it was designed to be. Look at how the Grand Canyon was formed by erosion. Look at how trees grow. Look at how the worlds are formed, or, the evolution of mountains and mountain ranges and valleys and the world itself. Things happen at their own pace. And you know what? It's always right on time. So the point of this conversation today is to invite you to have a dream performing in front of 100,000 people. Now that goal is powerful, and you do not control all the variables associated with being in this stadium. But you know what you do control? When we look at any goal, $1 million, singing in this stadium, best-selling book, I don't care. whatever goal you look at, either because of your own opinion or because you talk to someone or you have a coach or an expert that you rely on, or you read a book or take a course or whatever, you have a series of steps, a series of activities that you believe, or I believe, are likely to lead to that goal. Now, if I say, I'm going to sing in this stadium, I don't even know what stadium it is. It's just a pick, right? By AI. But I'm going to sing in a stadium in front of 100,000 people. And I'm going to do it by, I don't care, pick a date, October 1st. We would identify, okay, what are the possible stadiums? What can happen? What do I need to do to get there? What is the booking requirement? How do I fill it up with 100,000 people? All the kinds of questions that are part of that. And those steps can be motivations for us to act. But I want to draw a big distinction between goals and commitments. When you make statements that involve choices of others or external factors, you don't control those. I don't control those. The word commitment to me is a sacred word because it means I'll do whatever I need to or die trying to create the outcome I've spoken. So I make commitments over things I control. I'll go here, I'll do this, I'll create a live video, I'll finish this book. Those are all things that I control. I have goals. I have 250 million people that I'm reaching out to this year. That is an absolute goal, and I'm as committed as I can be. I'm not, forget that. I'm all in. But even all in, what I'm committing to is I'm going to do all the activities that I understand, can find, research, or believe will militate in support of that goal. Period. And I'm committed to do those, and I do. And this video is one of them, for example, because I know that through service and love and that sort of thing, I can influence people. I can encourage you to step into your creation, greatness, possibility, opportunity. But I don't control all the variables in getting to 250 million by October 14th, which is when my year ends, which is about 5 months from today, June, July, August, September, October. Got 5 months left. And it's still my goal. And I'm committed to all the actions that I believe are in support of that. So be careful. I wouldn't say careful, be intentional about the difference between goals and commitments. Because what happens to me, at least, is if I say, I'm committed to talk to 1 million people, I'm committed to sing in front of 100,000, and that doesn't happen for whatever reason, that commitment falls through, then there's two possibilities. One, I didn't take the actions, or two, I did take the actions and it didn't happen because there were externalities involved. Okay? Externalities play a big role, especially when you're doing stuff like signing clients and, trying to fill your coaching practice or sell your products and services. You don't decide what other people do with their money. So what you can commit to is to taking the actions. So I commit to take all the actions I can think of or find to reach my 250 million. Or you commit to take all the actions to find and speak to people to enroll clients, or whatever your goal is. So the commitment is about your actions, what you control. When I commit, and I have done this a lot, I commit to things that I don't control. And then when I'm disappointed, I turn it on me and I blame myself. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't do that. What was I thinking, et cetera? And you know the drill because you've done that too. So you're a creator. You create your life one day at a time, actually one moment at a time, one space of 8.64 seconds at a time. You create your life. What I know is if you commit to the actions required to have a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, you will achieve that. The measure of that may or may not be what you thought, but you can create your ultimate life. I have, and I also know that it looks way different than I thought to start with. Wow. And so I have satisfied my commitments, and I continue work to achieve my goals. The point isn't my stuff. The point is yours. You are divine. There's no question about your divinity. Because of where you came from, you also have capability. I know that. You know that deep in your heart. That means that your possibility is limitless if you want to use it. But that using, at least for me, has been over mountains and valleys and broken rocks and difficult climbs and everything else. But it's still there. So I encourage you with all my heart not to give up. State your dreams as clearly as possible, commit to the actions, get the help you need. And if I can help you in some way to reach your ultimate life, purpose, prosperity, and joy, that's all I do, is help people just like you love themselves, create their dreams, and then make the impossible happen. See you tomorrow.